I've been applying my minoxidil twice a day
You'll be like me one day, brother.
with my dermal roller. Did you ever use minoxidil in your beard? Don't lie either, bro.
I actually didn't.
I want to know because I'm trying to see if this shit's actually
I
gonna
didn't,
work.
but I got to hold on to this hair. So I'm using.
Bro, I got a
I'm using it
three.
then.
I bought a 3 months. No, yeah, I bought a 3 month supply.
You know what you got to do, bro? I'm telling you, use some minoxidil because I call it prevent defense, brother.
Prevent defense, bro. Kendrick's album was such a good album. It's my favorite. I like Mr. Morale for a lot of reasons. One of them not being replayability. I think that pushing that album out is what allowed him to release this album. Not in terms of like logistics or sales or things like that, just for his own like personal growth. Like he needed to do that album in order to do this next album and feel free, because it was really just like a therapy session addressing traumas and stuff like that and then moving forward. I think that's why a lot of people won't return to that album, because a lot of it is very like hard topics to go through.
Yeah, that was my favorite one, if I'm being honest. But I can appreciate it. Like when I heard it the first time, I was like, yeah. Like I don't think Kendrick's music is ever bad. I don't think he does.
What's your favorite album?
To Pimp a Butterfly for sure.
To Pimp a Butterfly? We gon' be all right.
Hey, how much $1 cost? Fantastic.
Come on now.
Come on.
It's a classic, man.
But GNX don't have any skips.
I think GNX,
no skips.
You
said peekaboo.
I just love West Coast music in general.
Tell him Peso did it.
Tell him Peso did it. And I appreciate that he put a lot of lesser known. The only person that I knew of prior to them being on the album was AZ Sheik or AZ Sheck, whatever his name is. I had listened to him a couple years ago, but I fell off. But that was the only one that I was like, everybody else, I was like, I don't know who any of these dudes are.
Nah, it was cool. I thought he had Kalen 2 for real on it, but he didn't. I thought he had J-Rock on it on another song, but he didn't. So it was cool to see like local LA artists on it. It was cool, man. I liked it. Like when it dropped, I was like, yeah, bro, this
hits. Even when we were working out today, bro, I was trying to turn on, I'm trying to turn on the Larry June to get in that mode.
Couldn't.
But every time we had that album on, the next song would come on, I'll be like, just let it play. We just go let it play out.
Cool,
just let it play out.
And I like that he dropped this album at the time that he did, because I think the only thing that a lot of people have a problem when it comes to Kendrick is that he just doesn't drop a lot of music consistently. Which, again, music is subjective and it's all on a timely manner. And like I can always appreciate, though, even if he's not dropping all the time, that like when he does drop, it's good music. You could tell that he put time and effort in. And that's even what we were talking about a few times, like when Drake drops an album, like Drake's always gonna have good music on an album, but there's some songs where you're like, bro, like give us some effort here. You know what I'm saying? Like there's some that you're like, bro, give us some effort, because some of the music that he drops, you're like, he's just gonna he just put this on the album because he knows people are gonna like, he knows the formula to make a song.
I
that's
like
catchy.
to call that filler music.
Yeah, 100%.
It's like elevator music, but like mall music and stuff like that.
He knows how to make a hit.
Yeah, I would say Drake, he's a rapper for sure. Like I've enjoyed Drake my entire life, but he is a pop artist as well. Like he's making popular music. That's what pop artist stands for. But I think whenever I listen to a Kendrick album, whether I like a song or not, I can see that the song is meant to be there for a reason. Like there is some intentionality behind every single track that goes on a Kendrick Lamar album, which I appreciate, even for the songs where I'm like, I'm probably not going to listen to this again.
No, 100%.
But it's still like, I could tell that there's some artistic design behind whatever he's doing. And Drake has that too, but I think especially in recent years, to like less of an amount. I think the Scary Hours.
Wagwan Delilah.
Wagwan Delilah.
Terrible.
I put Drake in like a time capsule though, because he's never. I don't think that the way that he's rapping or his subject matter in terms of maturity has ever changed.
That's facts.
I think that. So I just don't expect someone to give me something they've never given me. Not even comparing like a Kendrick versus Drake thing, but just like Kendrick, he's always gonna give me. He's always been very thought provoking and touching 100%. On very serious topics, and also funny and playing characters and being charismatic in the music and telling stories and stuff like that. Drake has always been Drake. That's not even a bad thing.
No,
I really enjoy Drake's music. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but like
most people do.
Like Drake has always been Drake. I've seen no evolution in terms of his character. Like
not at all. No. But I think one thing that I can always appreciate when it comes to like talking music and talking artists is I take it very serious when it's like, you could really love an artist's music, and you could admit when they have bad music.
Oh, yeah, like, for sure. The reason why I would never truly hate on Drake as an artist is because I have an emotional connection to Drake's music. I can't
Yeah,
even
for
lie
sure.
and say
I
that
think
like
most of us
Take
do.
Care. I have a strong emotional
We all
attachment to
grew up
that
with
album.
that, for sure.
Like that's my sophomore year in high school, like straight up. Like that's me getting
Yeah.
cheated on for the first time. Like, hey, like I think Take Care came out the
Hate it.
next day. Like,
Hey, you could do better.
bruh, I was hurt, dog. Like, and the dude, like, listen, it was her ex-boyfriend, bro. Her ex-boyfriend. It's right after like first hour waits, bro.
Yeah.
This dude is a senior. I'm a sophomore at the time. He comes up to me in the locker room and he's like, "Hey, bro, I just gotta let you know, like, I'm not gonna say her name, but like me and her, like, we hooked up, bro." I'm like, what is the first period of school? Like, what are we doing?
For the sake of your soul, man, I hope it was raining outside. Man.
Listen, bro.
I hope it was raining. I hope it was like raining and golden hours so you could look out your window,
Bruh,
bro.
even
And
when
put your hand on the window. You know,
listen,
you're like,
man, I was like, even as a young blood though, I was not with the BS, man. So should I go and ask her, man? She's like, I don't know what he's talking about. Bro, I seen him walking down the hallway. I said, "Hey, bro, come here, bro." I'm like, somebody lying, bro. And
Sick.
she's like, I was done. But then Take Care came out. I think literally the next day, I turned that thing on, that Marvin's Room. Cups of the rose. Like, I was like, damn. I
hate to
said,
see it, man. What is this red pill content? What is,
brother.
Like, I have no idea what that is, and
And-
I've been seeing it on Twitter lately, and I have no like. I was like, what is this? Like, the only thing I've seen with like anything that involves red or blue pill is like where it's like, you know, you have these 5 albums or you have these 5 albums. And
Yeah.
like red or blue. Which one? That's the only thing I know about it.
But you know what that is, man, for you? That is a green flag. Shouts out to your shorty, man. That's a green
man.
flag for her because I think just being chronically online, as you know I am, because I'm always doing like market research and stuff, you know, things like that. But I think in the essence of it, it's everything that you dislike, bro, which is probably why you're not seeing any
I
of
was
it.
gonna say I have like,
It's like the entire, you know, like as a man, like I'm the
I'm already
prize
out.
and women need to submit to me
No.
and you know,
hold on, we talking like David Goggins?
no.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Not
So
like not like motivation.
it's
not like
it's
lifting
like
alpha
the
motivation.
negative part of that.
Oh,
So
absolutely
it's
not.
like the faux facsimile part of that where you say like you want all the benefits of leadership without actually being a leader.
No.
So it's
Absolutely
the form of leadership where I say you do because I make money and I big and strong, I man.
Yeah.
Instead of you listen to what I say and you respect my decisions enough and,
And
you
then
trust
vi-
and
and
you
then
trust
vice
me
versa,
enough
yeah.
and you trust me enough to make decisions in the places where I'm equipped and then I also trust you to make decisions in the places where you're equipped, which I think is just how relationships normally work.
Wait, do people actually listen to this?
Oh yeah. It's
I-
made
like- like-
made several very insecure men multimillionaires for sure.
I'm being serious. Like, I'm not playing dumb. I really don't know what that is. Like who's like? It's a podcast, I assume.
No, so there's multiple podcasts because I think the
okay.
first podcast that did it, I think it was called Fresh and Fit or something like that. I
That's
think that's
already.
what it's called.
I'm already out. Absolutely
But the
not.
two gentlemen on there, how they first got big is
Mm-hmm.
that they live in Miami, of course, and they would bring a bunch of women from Miami onto the show, and they would just talk to them about like dating dynamics and belittle them and all these kinds of things, and they deliberately they're obviously going for a certain demographic of women
Mm-hmm.
because they're bringing on women that all the lonely men and insecure men in their chats would be like, oh, this is the type of girl that I want, and like basically it's basically like a humiliation ritual for these women going on there, and it's just it was
Insane.
very. I've watched it in long. I'm like I'm always gonna watch something in its long form before I make a critique of it. I don't think it has any value for men, to be honest. I think it's a net negative for any man that has subscribed to their ideology because I think, at least I'll only speak for me. I won't even say all men. For me, one of my things I want out of life is to have a loving and respectful relationship where I'm respected, my partner's respected, and we can do really cool stuff because we're both on the same page and we respect each other.
As it should be, 100%. That's just
I
a
don't
grown
think
relationship.
they're not teaching that. They're teaching like, yo, like every woman is somehow a negative to your life. Every woman's a liability,
yeah, nah.
even top earner. I think I heard them say one time that because if a woman makes a certain amount of money, she disqualifies herself from a high value man. And I think that doesn't even make sense in the context of if you just look at what really rich people do. Most really rich people marry other really rich people. So that doesn't even make sense. That's not even like what people that actually have money and, everybody talks about generational wealth, but like that's not even what those people do. They usually marry people that are also high earners. That doesn't even make sense.
I'll never understand that content because that's just not something like, at least for me, that's not something I would ever want to listen to.
Well,
And again, I think most people can agree. I think at least I hope most people can agree. I hope so. Because I mean, it just doesn't make any sense to me. Like, why would you want to listen to something that's so negative about not even just, men or women, but like in general? Like, like, to me, that wouldn't be motivational. I would listen to that and be like, this is awful. This is terrible. Even if people who like that content are watching this and they have something to say, please communicate with me about that. Because
Mark is trying to find out.
it didn't make any sense. Like, why would you want to live your life like that? Why would you want to put your partner in that situation? Like, these are the kind of conversations and things like that steer people away from podcasts. That's the type of stuff that goes viral. So then when cool cats like us have podcasts, people don't want to listen to it.
Subscribe to the podcast. Choose up podcast, subscribe, and wherever you get your podcast, tap in.
Trying to corner people into saying, women are bad or men are bad, but especially in that context of the red pill content. First of all, when I heard that, I was like, that didn't even sound attractive. That sounds like, I don't even, like, when I'm thinking red pill, like, never mind. But I will never understand how anyone would want that kind of ideology because I feel like it has no positive outcome.
So I think it stems from, I would say, like 2 or 3 things. I think one, loneliness and insecurity. So I think whether it's through COVID or not having strong male figures in their life, that a lot of young men, boys, and older men that were once young boys ended up in a situation where they had zero access to women. Their finances weren't what they would like for them to be. Their mental and physical space was not where they would like for them to be. And they could not find the space to be accountable to themselves. So it has to be, they were just searching for it to be somebody else's fault. Like, why am I not physically attractive? Or why am I not being seen as physically attractive? Why are my finances not right? Why do I not have a woman in my life? Why are all these things happening? And then I think that a couple of men saw this as an opportunity to make a lot of money, because what breeds on the internet? Negativity and propaganda. So if I can take a bunch of lonely men that are sad and afraid that they're going to end up lonely and have no community, and I can tell them that, hey, you can be a part of our community, and guess what? We're going to tell you why all these things in your life are not good. And it's because has nothing to do with you. You don't need to take any accountability.
Right.
You don't need to work on yourself or address your traumas or anything like that. No, 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 no. All you need to do is find ways to make a bunch of money, because that's all women care about, because it's the women's problem. They have no value. They have no character. It's all on you. And then what I'm going to do now is I'm going to bring a bunch of women that live in downtown Miami and use them as a focus group to tell you how all women act around the entire nation, whether they're in the Midwest, the South, the Pacific Northwest. I'm going to use these specific women that live in Miami as the demographic to extrapolate upon all women in the world. And I think that they used that, and that's how they were just like, oh, I'm going to take advantage of all these lonely-ass men, make a bunch of money, and then, it is what it is.
I didn't even know it was like that. So,
and mind you, none of these dudes are in relationships. Just thinking objectively, why would I want to be that way?
That's what I'm saying. I think that's where I'm stemming this from, is like, why would you ever want to think that way? Or why would you even want to move like that?
Like, why would I want to be in a space to where the woman that's with me just sits there? Like, did y'all not watch Coming to America? That was the whole point of the movie.
Right.
I love older movies because they're simple and they're funny, but they always have a message in
100%,
them.
yeah.
And the message from that was, you should go and find a partner that is your equal or has qualities that you don't have and that can cover your weak points. In the beginning of the movie, he had everything. He is a prince of a rich nation.
Right.
He could have any woman he wants, and they present him the quote-unquote perfect woman, the perfect red pill woman. She just shuts up. She barks like a dog. He said, bark like a dog, turn and pat your head. And she does everything that he says. He says, I'm going to go somewhere else, and I'm just going to find a woman. And what's the woman he found? Yes, she came from a wealthy family that owned a franchise of McDowell's. But she was a hard worker. Yeah. She was intelligent, and she had her own personality, and she challenged him. and he chose her to be his queen. Were y'all not listening to Eddie Murphy?
Come on.
Come on now.
Damn.
So I think it just really, that's the reason why it got so popular. I think COVID played a factor. I think a lot of men were lonely and afraid and had no community. I mean, we were lucky, bro. We had an amazing
No, we
community
did,
during
for sure.
COVID. We had an amazing community of men that were all on the same page, had their heads on straight, and we were able to talk very honestly and vulnerable with each other. And I think that really benefited us to where we didn't get potentially sucked into that whole like, oh, I'm the prize, blah, 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 blah. Like,
I'm the
I want
prize.
my shorty to be the prize.
Right.
Like, not even viewing her as an object, but I mean, like, I want to have a woman where I'm like, wow, like, I'm inspired. Like, this woman is an inspiration to me. And that's how I am now with my girl. Like, that's why my relationship is so amazing in the way that it is. And it's developed so quickly over the time that we've been together, because it's not even just about her appearance or her personality. Like, she's a go-getter. Like, she be getting stuff done. And that's inspiring to me.
Yeah, step your game up.
I be feeling like that, really, genuinely and honestly, and I be getting after it in my own right, but like that's something that's truly like I think that makes my relationship special, is that not only do we cover all the bases of like attraction and goal setting and all that stuff, but like we're like I can be inspired by her and she can be inspired by me, and if I have a woman that just sits down and shuts up and does whatever I say, how is that inspiring?
But you said insecurities, and I think that's something that's super important because, again, I think a lot of us in our friend group and like our direct friend group have done a great job of expressing insecurities. Now, obviously, we're always going to make fun of each other to it.
Of course.
Like that's just like that's just how we are. But what do you think you did to maybe get over some of your insecurities that you had?
I think that the first step in addressing the big insecurities that were plaguing me is that realizing that they were all in my head. Like I think like that honesty, and especially with your friends and stuff like that, and talking with especially other men. You can have plenty of friendships. So we have plenty of friends that are women. I'm just saying in the context of our situation in Portland, we were all just dudes hanging out.
Right.
I think talking to other dudes, honestly, you realize that a lot of the things that you're insecure about are literally just in your head. These things are in my head. These things aren't real. Like even me leaving Portland, we talked about it on a previous episode. Like I felt I was stuck. That wasn't real. I could leave whenever I wanted.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or being insecure about where my career is going, things like that. I can change my career whenever I want. I'm not stuck. I'm not forced to do anything. And I think when you leave that behind, that feeling of you have to do something, it melts a lot of your insecurities, because now you're doing things that you want to do. And if somebody, because a lot of insecurities stem from, like external judgment.
Yeah, 100%.
And if somebody's judging me for doing something that I want to do and that makes me happy, I don't want to be around that person in the first place. And I think that was the mindset once I adopted that mindset, that if someone truly had an issue with this, because I'm being my true authentic self and this is how I really want to be and what I really want to do, if someone has an issue with this, they're not my people.
Right.
So I don't care.
Right.
And I think that's what helped me. But what about you, bro?
I was gonna say the same thing, because I think the big thing for me for a long time was I grew up with not a ton of money, which I'm sure plenty of people have, right? Of course. But I think the thing for me was like I always wanted X amount of money, and it drove me crazy to the point where I was like, I have to get this much money. Like I just need this job so I can get more money, and I will feel better about myself. Only because I was tired of seeing, and this is the problem with a lot of, like you said, external things. I would see, when I first started working in media, I worked at a radio station, and I would go cover Blazer games, but I saw everybody else with like cameramen, nice shoes, the nice suits, and I would show up because I couldn't afford nothing. I even know for a fact what my first outfit was at a Blazer game, and thinking about it now makes me disgusted. But at the time,
Come on, tell us the fit, man.
it was I found a old pea coat, like an old one from Goodwill,
Pea coat.
with rips in the arms. It was a black one. I bought from Gap. I bought a $6 like button-up shirt that I found. It was blue.
Swag.
So I had a blue undershirt. I had a black pea coat. All I could find was a red tie for like 45 cents. And then I bought a super small pair of pants. I wore at the time like 32s, and they were like 30s. So they didn't even fit me. And they were like skinny jeans, like skin tight. And then I had a bright red pair of loafers that I bought. The whole outfit was like less than $20.
That's swaggy, bro.
When I was at the game and I saw, what everybody else in media was wearing, that's where I was like, oh, I have to get my money up. And it made me so like extremely insecure, because I was like, I need to be like that if I want to get in this profession. And that was like what you said, a lot of external factors that made me feel insecure. And then I realized, like, once I started showing it to more games, everyone was like, man, like, that's a nice fit. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. But the problem was I had to take a step back and be like, is it the fact that I wanted more money, or was I really like wanting people to look at me and say like, oh, Marcus dresses nice, or Marcus looks professional, or we could tell Marcus has more money? Once I met you guys in Portland in our big group, and Yancey, the big thing that we would always talk about was just like, money is going to come and go constantly. Yeah. That's just how it is. Sure. Sometimes you're going to be like, man, I got a lot of bread right now. Then there's plenty of times where you're like, oh, I don't have it right now.
Especially when you're building.
Exactly. And I think that was the thing where I had to take a step back and realize, like, if I was just honest with y'all, because you know how our friend group is, we can have conversations with anybody about anything.
Of course.
And it was no secret, and it's still no secret, I was cheap. That's like the one thing is I've always
still
been, but I think that's where it was like I've always been cheap, because I was like, I want to feel like I had more money. So then when it came down to it, I was like, oh no, I do have money. Like, y'all see, like, I do have money. That was my insecurity.
Yeah, for sure.
But now obviously I make more money. Like, I've gotten older, and I realized like all that was external factor, and it circled around to, I just want people to think I had money.
I think cliche sayings are cliche for a reason, because they've been said for a long time that comparison is the thief of joy.
100%.
Especially in our friend group. That's why I think that what makes our friend group so special is that we have some incredibly high earners in our friend group. Like, we have some incredibly high earners.
Man, y'all know, if y'all are watching, you know who you are. That's why we don't go to dinner with y'all.
Come on now. But like, the thing is that I think we've talked about this before is that we take inspiration from that.
Yeah.
It's not comparing ourselves to them. It's like, no, like, these are the homies. I know them. And more than anything, it humanizes the ability to attain that level of income. I think a lot of times, especially, I'll just speak on when I started working at Nike. When I first got there, I was just thinking like, wow, everyone here must be so amazing to have this job, like working on sneakers. Like, you're on calls with LeBron and Kyrie. Like, you just must be such an amazing individual. And there were a couple. There were a couple people there where I'm like, you are truly an exceptional human being, and I understand why you were in this high position. But the majority of people I work with, not that they were just people. There was nothing particularly special about them. They were just doing the work, and they took advantage of an opportunity. And I think for me, being, especially just relating it to our friend group, like, a lot of our friends are really, really good at what they do, but they're just people that take advantage of the opportunities and the abilities that they have. So I think for me, that helped with a lot of my insecurities, keeping it, talking about the insecurities, is that recognizing that comparing yourself to others is really horrible, because in most cases, the version that you're comparing yourself to, like that version of them, is not even the real version of them.
100%.
You're comparing yourself to a fictitious version of them that you built in your own head.
That you think that they are like.
That you think that they are like.
Yeah.
And they're not 100%. Even like that. They're just people. So
Yeah.
you're making yourself miserable off of imagination. It's not even real. And that's what I was saying. Like, a lot of my insecurities, they just weren't real. And I think that as you learn that and you accept that, like, even you, like, you weren't making that much less than everyone in the group at that time.
But I thought
you felt that
only
way.
because of what I thought having a whole lot of money looked like, sounded like, and then by the way you carry yourself. But that's not realistic. Again, I put that picture in my head of that's what having a lot of money and being secure looks like. And then you got to learn over time, like, nah, that's not how it is. Like, not at all.
I think it's like that mental mastery. My linebacker coach, my first one, because we had 3 different head coaches while I was there, but my first linebacker coach when I was in college, Don Pelham, the GOAT. You know the suits.
Is that the guy in the suits?
You know who it is.
And the suits and the fedora?
The dog. You know who it is.
That boy was cold.
But he used to always have these meetings for us when we were in the linebacker room before practice, and it would be called like Principles of Mental Management, which at the time I was like, but now as an adult, I'm like, yo, I low-key need to hit him up and get those, because they were super valuable. But it is about mastery of the mind, and the mastery of the mind is so powerful, because then you can push back against those things, because everybody has that stuff creep into their head where like imposter syndrome or inadequacy feelings or insecurities. And sometimes that is your body telling you that, like, yeah, you're doing the wrong thing. You need to move this way because you're not doing what you need to be doing for yourself. And other times it's just the fact that we're chronically online, we're exposed to a lot of stuff, and it affects how you perceive your own reality. 100%. My original goal in life, bro, when I first graduated college, was to be making 6 figures by the time I turned 30.
Right.
Like, that was my original goal. That happened way before I turned 30. I'm gonna tell you
Big
that.
money.
We not gonna talk about it, but I'm just saying that's not like a
Yeah,
brag. That's just
yeah,
saying
yeah.
like that was my perception of money at that time. Like
100%.
I was like, bro, if I'm making six figures by the time I turn 30, I made it. Like I'm set.
100%.
And then when I made six figures, I think I started making six figures at like 23. Then I was like,
Bro, why was I paying for some stuff then? Why?
that's
Why?
called friendship.
It don't sound like it.
Then when I got that money, I was looking at people around me, you know, like the homies, and I'm like, bro, I'm broke. Like, you know, I'm like, I need to step it up.
Yeah. No,
So
for
it's like
sure.
that constant reinvention and like that perception of what your goals are at the time. It's just like you just have to release yourself from that. And I think even now, what I'm focusing on is just doing the work. The outcome is the outcome, but I'm just gonna do the work. I'm not gonna look at what other people are doing. Even that, like when we were first game playing the podcast, I was looking at other podcasts way too much.
Right.
Now I don't look at them at all. I'm just like, how do we refine our process? How do we do our own thing? Because we both have enough skill, enough talent, and we both know what we want to do enough to collaborate without looking at external sources and continue to improve what we're trying to bring to the table.
Yeah, and that's the thing is that you could find appreciation, just like when you find appreciation in other people for the spots that they're at in life, right? Whether it be career, money, or just them as an individual. You could obviously strive to be like them in some degree because you respect what they do and how they got there and whatever, like you said, the work or whatever it is.
Most
But at
definitely.
the same time, you do have to take a step back and be like, this is your own life. Like we were talking about on the last episode, like live in the moment. And I think that really helped me realize like, of course, we all have insecurities and we always will. That's just how the mind works.
Yeah.
But it's like, if you can really take a step back and be like, nah, man, like I really earned this, or I tried to do this and failed, or, you know, I see what they're doing and it's great, but I'm still doing something over here that's really cool. Like those are the type of things where you can help break out of that insecurity of whatever it is. But as long as you not only trust yourself, but find time to pat yourself on the back.
Yes,
Be
for sure.
appreciative of what you've done along the way. And there's plenty of times I do it now where I take a step back and I was like, man, I remember when I was working, you know, 4 or 5 different jobs thinking all I needed to do was get into TV and I would feel like I'm on top of the world.
Yep.
I look back now and I'll watch old videos of me on YouTube where I was like, ooh, like obviously they're rough, but I was like, I could respect the fact that I knew what I wanted to do and I was finding a way to do it. And you could tell that I was looking at other people. Now, there were some videos where I was trying to act like Stephen A. Smith and it didn't work out and it was awful.
We need to find those clips. Insert the clip.
But I found an appreciation for what he did and I worked my way into where I was and realized like that's what I wanted. But also looking back, I was like, oh, I was trying to find my way and I was insecure at the time, but like I was working through it and finding self-respect along the way.
And it's okay to take inspiration. I think
Yeah,
that's an amazing
100%.
thing. And I think even more paring that down, it's cool to take inspiration from the people around you. Like you were just saying, I'll use an example. I won't say his name, but like one of our friends, like he got a big time job for a big tech company. You already know who I'm talking about.
Amen.
But at the same time, he's going back to school right now
Yeah.
to get his MBA. I think he's getting
Yeah,
his MBA
which
right
is
now.
nuts.
And he also has a business on the side that like not even like a side, like a whole other business that he's doing. And he's doing all 3 of these things while also being one of the most like go out fun people, but he's still getting everything done. He's still doing all those tasks. And like for me, that's inspiring because it's like
For sure.
you can still have fun and get the work done. It's okay to take inspiration from your friends. You don't have to feel as though like
It's a competition all the
yeah,
time.
that's not what do they say now? It's not glazing. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you can be inspired by your
Right.
friends and take little inspiration and things from that. Like we were just talking about our friend, you know who, about like you were telling me about his reading list and like the books that he reads
Yeah,
and
it's crazy.
his thought process around finances and stuff like that. And that also I think that goes with who you surround yourself with. Because like I get so inspired by our friends because we've just surrounded ourselves with really cool people that are doing a lot of cool stuff.
Dope people, man.
And it's not just men. We got friends that are women that are doing crazy stuff. Old girl in New York, because we don't put nobody's names out here.
Yeah.
She be
Fire.
crazy
Fire.
stuff, bro.
Our friends be on top of their stuff, which is
Fire.
which is inspiring. Where it's like, even if you take a step back and look where they're like, oh, this might have happened to them negatively, like it happened to our friend in New York, and then it ended up being a blessing.
Come on now.
And then she found a way to now move that into something else, and now she's thriving. And it's like that's the type of stuff where it's like you could see that and find inspiration. It doesn't always have to be a competition. And it's like you can have insecurities and find motivation from your friends, inspiration, while also still working on yourself and building yourself up. It's the beauty of having the group of friends that you do. We talked about a whole lot of stuff. We did. give the people something to take away from this episode when it comes to insecurity.
1, comparison is a thief of joy. 2, competition is only with yourself. And 3, are you doing the day-to-day tasks to make sure that when opportunity does come knocking, you can invite it in and make it stay a while?
There's a lot of bars in there, man.
I've been listening to that GNX.
You heard?
Tell him Jimmie did it.
Tell him Jimmie did it. I would say my piece is to summarize it from my point of view is lean on your people. Like that's the beauty in it, and find the motivation, and then also just find the inspiration, because there's plenty of people, again, when you're down bad or you feel like you're not where you should be and you're feeling insecure about your situation, there's always people to talk to, your friends, your family. I think that's the beauty in having the community that you do, is that when things are down bad and you're not feeling good or you're feeling insecure, like I was honest with y'all about the stuff that I was insecure.
For sure, I remember.
I feel like that's what helped me get out of that, rather than I'm going to figure it out on my own because that's what we do. Nah, man, like that's why you have your community. That's why you have certain people in your corner, and that's why you have the friends and family that you do, so you can lean on them when you need them, and then they can also help you through any dark time that you have and help you work through whatever it is you're going to find the confidence that you have in yourself, because everybody has it. Sometimes it just takes a little extra help from your community to get that out. And I think that's very important. So that's what I would say. And tell him Marcus did it.
Tell him Marcus did it. Everyone, if you found anything valuable today from Choose Up Podcast, please subscribe. We're live wherever you get your podcast from.
Say what?
We're live wherever you get your podcast from. Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts. Leave us a review. Share the podcast with someone that you think could also gain value from it. We're always trying to improve the podcast. Starting next week, we will be dropping 3 podcasts a week.
Sheesh.
For all of December. We're choosing up. We're challenging ourselves, okay? I'm not saying it's going to stay that way, but for December, you're going to get 3 of these a week. So if you like the content, please subscribe. Follow us wherever you get your podcast. And Marcus, give the people a closeout sentence.
Yes, sir. You know what it is. Another day, another opportunity, folks.